Now I want to wire up a simple DIY solar power system. This would be a perfect first system just to get you off the ground, get you familiar with the terminology, some of the components and tools you need so you can start powering devices off grid. So we got a charge controller from Renogy, very popular DIY friendly brand. This is on the low end of their spectrum with 10 amps of capability. It can take in 12 volts or 24 volts from the panels and deliver corresponding the same voltage for the battery. Then it has outputs which can deliver 12 or 24 depending on what your battery setup is, and 2 USB-A outputs at 5 volts and 2 amps. So pretty functional, very inexpensive charge controller, and this is where we're going to start. Now 12 gauge can take a maximum of 20 amps, so we're well within the threshold of what this wire can hold up. Actually 14 gauge would be fine to go from the charge controller to the battery as well, but I'm going to go ahead and use 12 gauge because I got some readily available and just lying around. Now I'm only going to use simple tools here, so this is a simple wire stripper and crimper. I'll strip off a little less than 1/2 inch of insulation, exposing the 12 gauge stranded wire, and then that's what we're going to wire directly into the charge controller. Twist those strands. You don't want any strands poking out anywhere, and then you actually open up those terminals and then close them. So I'm opening it up here, inserting the wire, and then closing those up, doing a pull test at the end to make sure they're secure. So in addition to the ring terminals, we'll use what's called a butt splice. That's how we're going to connect this fuse holder to our positive red wire coming out of the charge controller. Again, we'll just strip off about 1/2 inch of that insulation and then get one of those butt splices. Now when you're crimping, you'll make sure you take your time and do a pull test on each one of those crimps. It is pretty easy to do a bad crimp, and you just want to find that out early before your full system's together, and maybe you have an issue where you have a bad connection. Now we'll do a ring terminal here on the negative side. Then once we get those, we'll start working with the bolts here. Now there is several washers here, a lock washer, a nut. There's kind of an order of operation. I'll show you a close-up so you know which ones go on each side of the post and where does this overall ring terminal go. So we'll just tighten things down on the negative side and do the same here for the positive side. So you got the bolt going through, then a washer, then the ring terminal, then the battery post, and then on the other side we have a washer, the smaller lock washer, then the nut. And then I'll place the 10 amp fuse in the holder, and this will then power up our charge controller if your battery has any charge. So in solar, the most popular connectors by far are called MC4 connectors. So I already have MC4 connected onto the 12 gauge wire, and then I just stripped off the other end, very similar to what we did for the wires that are coming from the battery. And then we'll go ahead and just wire into the charge controller side. And then we'll just make the connections at our MC4 connectors. And then once you connect up your solar panel, you would expect to start to see some type of power coming in. So it's going to cycle through the load mode, and then we'll go back up to PV, giving us a voltage from the panel of 13.7 volts, and then a current of 0.3 amps. Now it's overcast and getting later in the day, so the power from the panel, this 100-watt panel, is very low, but at least now we do have power coming from the panel, so we know our wiring is correct, and now we just need some sun to really crank things up. So first up, in terms of the loads, we have a 12 volt in this case because I have a 12 volt battery connected up. Remember, I could have a 24 volt system matched up with this Wanderer, can handle it, so then that would make my output here 24 volts. But in this case, we have a 12 volt, and then we have those 2 USB-As, which are going to be 5 volts and 2 amps. So maybe you just need some simple lights, like we said, in a shed for camping, or maybe in a tool trailer. Some of those do come with a USB-A, which is perfect for this application. So you can plug that in, and then actually the enter button serves as the on-off button for the loads. So you could use that as an on-off if this was mounted to the side of your shed wall. Then you can use this as on-off for your lighting, or a lot of these come with a controller which you could use as well. And then probably more practical is our devices, right? Our phones, our iPads. You can even charge some different RC products that use a USB-A. Again, you just plug that in. I have it plugged in through the lightning port on the bottom, and then it starts to charge my overall device. Now we will see the loading. Remember, this will cycle through. So it's saying 0.5 or 0.6 amps. That's the load from the LED lights, and then also charging our phone. So pretty cool overall setup, honestly. Maybe I'm just kind of a nerd for this stuff, but I love setting up these DIY kits. You're kind of mixing and matching, you're looking at your different specifications, and really it's kind of infinite in what you can do. A simple system like this can eventually equal an off-grid setup for a cabin you have, or a barn, or whatever your use case is. It really can continue to expand in that direction. So again, any questions you guys have, go ahead, jump down in the comments, let me know. We also have a Facebook group, Everyday Solar. If you have specific questions,